All right, welcome back. I promised you guys a good show. I hope you're enjoying it. Now, we have talked about science of physical abuse. We've talked about science of sexual abuse. Now, let us get down to it. The one we always talk about and we always see every day. Verbal abuse. What are the signs of verbal abuse? Let's start with Ken.
Signs of verbal abuse
Yes.
is when either party, a man or a woman, is talking incessantly, regardless of the response from the other party, and he or she continues talking, in spite of the fact that you've been ignored. You are abusing the person.
Okay. Okay. Chichi?
To me, verbal abuse is always when you're always in control of speaking. I mean, you don't let the other partner to speak. You put in any input. You're always the one talking and talking and talking and talking. That to me is an abuse because in every communication there has to be two
sides.
But when you are the only the person talking, saying everything, making decisions, giving orders, to me that's an abuse.
That's an abuse. Okay. Abi?
I already said it, I'm going to summarize it. It's
Okay.
really when you dominate a conversation without giving the other partner a chance to air his or her view. That would be some kind of abuse.
That's true.
Because everybody has to have a right to say something. Especially in the family, when you are the breadwinner, you go talking and talk to spouse or the other partner to at least give an input of whatever is going on. That's kind of an abuse because everything ends with whatever you say.
Okay.
Can I also ask you guys this question? Do you think nagging is an abuse?
It is.
Yeah.
It
is.
It's the most overt form of verbal abuse.
Yes, you affect our brain. I mean, I don't know about you, but nagging does affect my brain. I mean, sometimes I get turned off. Certain people, certain friends, they don't stop. And it's hard for you to really know exactly where they're coming from
because they keep going
jumping
on,
from
they are
one
not stopping.
irrelevant topics to another. But again, it's not good to interrupt them because maybe they're trying to air their feelings or their opinions. So nagging also, yes, it is a form of abuse.
So,
and you know what I want to say there, because I know that most men out there will say, oh, okay, we are always so busy talking about physical abuse because we are the ones that are being hit. We are so busy talking about sexual abuse and stuff like that. Verbal abuse is looked at so many quarters as a woman abuse. In the sense that, I don't know how to say this, but God created us, we talk. That's all we do. That's all we do, we talk. Because sometimes if a man will use 5,000 words to explain what happened here, a woman will use 30,000 words to explain it. And 30,000 is when you stop us. If you don't stop us, we might get to 60,000.
Well, it's not just
a day more. It might be about 1 million.
It's not just that. It's not just that you talk. It's abuse only when you talk and not listening.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
come to a conversation with a predetermined conclusion. It doesn't matter what the other person says. You just go into the emotions.
So guys, audience out there, please, before we move on, because verbal abuse go hand in hand with emotional abuse.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where, before I go to emotional abuse, verbal abuse, I always tell people, when you can stand out there and tell your spouse that she is stupid or he is stupid, he's a useless man, she's a useless woman, something is really wrong with you. Because in my idea and in my perspective, if you were that smart, what are you doing with this dumb woman? If you were that smart lady, what are you doing with this dumb man? So for this man to be dumb, I think you're also dumb.
That's true.
That's my notion. If I'm gonna be dumb and you came all the way to marry me dumb, that means you must be dumb. Because if you're smart, you should have looked for a smart person.
I agree. When you call your husband dumb,
you are also one.
You are Mrs. Dumb.
Exactly. That's what I believe. That's what I believe, because I have had so many men come out and tell you, my wife is stupid, she doesn't clean the house, she doesn't cook, and then you hear some women say, he's a stupid man, he's good for nothing, useless man, he will not amount to anything. Sweetie, how did you pick a stupid man to marry? You didn't find an intelligent man? So, you see, tell me who your friends are, and I tell you exactly who you are. If you're going to sit here and put your wife or your husband down verbally, Sweetie, you're indirectly telling us who you are, because that's who you chose.
That's right.
That's who you married. That's who you said you're going to live with. And just like my sister said, women, we do this all the time. Please, 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 audience out there, let us try and control the nagging. Nobody wants to be nagged. Even we mothers. Notice when your children nag you with one particular thing, they drive you crazy.
That's right.
Mommy, can I have a candy? No. Mommy, can I have a candy? No. Please, mommy, can I have a candy? Then you start saying, if you come here one more time, you will not get that candy. Because it is tiring. So put yourself in the next person's position. Put yourself in your spouse's position. You can't talk to a woman, your wife, or your husband, nagging about television from morning till night. It's tiring. It gives migraine. It gives a headache. Makes people sick. Let us tone it down a little bit, because let's respect each other. And if we're going to be demanding equality, we can't demand men don't do this when women we don't want to stop what we're doing. So we have to also tone down the talking, tone down the nagging, and know that sometimes by the time we say 50 things, the man is confused.
That's
he
true.
is trying to figure out the last 3 sentences you made, and you have added 20 more sentences on top of that one. So he's confused. Let us tone it down. Now let's go to emotional abuse, because I know 2 of them go hand in hand.
That's true.
Well,
so what are the signs of emotional
no,
abuse?
before we get to that,
Okay.
I'd like to make an observation so that we as men, when you are in the house, in a situation with your wife or whoever that is a woman you are with, you got to understand one thing. Women, when everything they say, they are not seeking solution. Sometimes all they want is somebody to listen to them.
Exactly.
That is why you can have 2 girlfriends stay the whole day chatting. And if you were eavesdropping, you hear one say, sister, I feel you. And they will talk for days. But men are not like that. Whenever you present a problem to a man, automatically his head is wired to find solution. And then he tries to suggest this. This woman gets angry. He's like, oh my God, what have I done wrong? What do I need to do?
So are you trying to say that women don't do suggestions? It's just only
No. I'm trying to say that everything, whenever a woman is talking to you, everything
Don't
she
automatically
says
think
is
she
not
wants you to help her.
exactly. It's not trying to get solutions. Sometimes she just needs somebody to hear her.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, women also have to understand that men are not wired to stay at one place and listen to all irrelevancies that have gone on for ages.
Some men do that too. So maybe.
Well, if your man is like that, good luck.
I'm not like that.
I'm not talking of you. I'm saying, hey, within our
Yeah,
if you have a man that can listen to you for a week non-stop and he enjoys it, hey, lucky you. But the average man is not like that.
No,
Yeah, but
that's
also,
true.
and before we go over to emotional, like he said, in as much as women, we are talking to women out there to tone down the talking, we should also talk to the men to get up the patience a little bit.
That's true.
That's the way we are built. We are going to talk. Sometimes we talk. A guy was telling me, I met a cab driver, and the man was telling me, he said, my wife sells Tupperwares. And my wife will come in and talk to me 3 hours non-stop about Tupperwares. The man told me, he said, sweetie, I don't know what Tupperwares is. I don't understand how you sell it. But my wife thinks I know everything about this business, because everything she said, I said, honey. Yes, sweetie. And then one day, he asked me, what did I just say? I said, just the same thing you just said. That's the day my wife realized that I wasn't paying attention. So guys, this is marriage. This is a partnership. It's supposed to be fun. Most of the things we do, we don't do it because we enjoy it.
No.
But you indulge the next person. That lady comes back and she's ranting and raving about her boss. Don't tell her shut her down. Listen. Honey. Yes, sweetie. Well, really? It happened? Don't mind those people. Go take a bath, sweetie. When he leaves, you look at your child and say, you have no clue. It solves the problem.
That is very true.
It solves the problem.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
We go home.
Exactly.
No, we all do different jobs, and we have
Exactly.
different job descriptions.
Exactly.
Sometimes it becomes so overwhelming. You can't wait to get to home to get
To
home
tell
to talk
somebody.
to somebody. And who is that somebody?
Your husband, your spouse.
Honey, did you know what happened at work today? You're like, yeah. What you from A to Z, you tell the whole story. The man wouldn't even remember a thing that you just said.
That's
now
true.
instead I
And
listen.
listen.
I said, okay, okay, no problem. We'll find a solution.
You know what they always say?
Just get up and say, oh, here we go.
Here we go again. That's very because you have hurt her feelings.
It is,
you know.
It is easy to do this if we understand that man. When I say man, I mean human beings are social animals, more social than rational.
Exactly.
So we're always seeking, you know, the other person's point of view and
opinions. And
stuff
sometimes
like that.
too, we don't even want, you know, because I know also of a lady, you know, she went to her work and her boss was very mean to her. She got so angry, she came back home and she was telling her husband, you see, my boss did this, my boss did that, he's so selfish. He's so... The husband is like, oh my God, that your boss is so mean. He said, I didn't tell you he was mean. I was just telling you what he did today. He's a good man. You don't call him mean. He has been nice to me. He gave me promotion. The man said, oh, okay. So is he selfish? No, you don't say that either about him. So it's like, what do you want me to say? I want you to listen.
Exactly. The
I want you to listen. I don't want, like Ken said, women don't want solution all the time, guys. We just want you to listen.
Just listen.
Be a shoulder to lean on.
Yes.
Be a listening ear for me. Somebody I can bounce my ideas on. I might come to you and say, hey, honey, I don't know, should I cook rice or should I cook soup? I'm not asking your opinion. I'm just trying to bounce it in my head, but I'm saying it aloud.
That's true.
All you have to say, honey, which one do you have time to cook? I said, I think I'll cook rice. Good. Don't tell me, no, don't cook rice. Cook yam. Did I ask you? Oh, but you just asked me, honey. So women were a little bit complicated, a little bit. But this is what, if we take time and study whoever we are in a relationship with, you begin to find our weaknesses, our strengths, because it's supposed to be where this person is weak, this person is strong, and where this person is strong,
to balance
this
each other.
person is, so that way we can balance each other. Now let's go to emotional abuse, because I know from the verbal abuse, people get emotionally depressed. So tell me some of the signs of emotional abuse.
To me, I mean, well, you're right. Emotional abuse goes hand in hand with abuse and verbal abuse. Emotional abuse is always when somebody is depressed. I mean, it's not, a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. Some things can cause you being depressed.
Yes.
But when it's a constant thing,
repetitive.
Yeah, that's emotional abuse. You know, sometimes things can cause emotional abuse to you. Maybe heartbreak, death of somebody, or there's so many things that can cause emotional abuse. So like me, I will also define emotional abuse with verbal abuse. I mean, they go hand in hand.
Okay, Abby, what do you have to say about that?
Emotional abuse is any action the partner takes to lower each other's
self-esteem. Exactly.
Especially name calling.
Name calling.
It's not really good to call each other names, regardless of how upset you are, because whatever comes out of your mouth, you can't take it back in.
Exactly.
And that person remembers it. For instance, some spouses, they call their partners fat. I mean,
stupid, idiot.
You can't
useless.
You can't do that.
Good for nothing.
But I'm representing you. If I'm that terrible,
why still with me? That's true.
See what I'm saying? And that women, I will tell you, some women don't take it light. It sinks in their brain. They try to replace, and they try to kind of reverse the situation. Oh, I'm too fat. What am I supposed to do? They do other things to make, to kind of correct the situation, which is really not what the man would imagine saying. So the thing is, emotional abuse is also very harmful to our brain.
Yeah.
You walk around with it. This person said, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. You walk around with it, and it bothers you.
A lot. Ken?
Well, I think emotional abuse is your response to the bullying, whatever form it comes in your environment, the way you react to it, that you hold to yourself. And that reaction would make you do other things that you normally wouldn't do. When a situation like that happens, I tend to think it's emotional abuse. However, as a man, I have problem with the way women react to certain stimuli. For instance, a woman, without the man saying either way, she either thinks that she's too fat or she's too thin. Women are unable to accept themselves. And they are looking up to men for validation. first of all, accept yourself. Somebody
I would think that's what relationship is part of. When you're
if you don't accept yourself, here is a situation. Okay, here, do you want me to lie to you? Here
You
is
have
a,
to
okay.
accept yourself first.
Here is a situation whereby if I say, hey, honey, you're okay. Hey, why do you think I'm okay? I think I'm fat. What should I have done? Okay, honey, you look good. No, I'm thin. It's as if I'm not eating. First of all, you have to come to terms with who you are and accept it. On basis of that, then the man can do something or say something to make you feel better about yourself. But in a situation where you don't accept yourself, it becomes such a problem. And I give you an instance. Several years ago, I had a girlfriend. Every time she was worried with the way she looks, it didn't bother me. And I told her, as long as you feel comfortable and confident with yourself, I'm okay with you. Some people are big boned. Even if you sleep in the gym, it's not going to make any difference. I saw you, I know you are big boned. But she wants me to say, hey, go and lose weight. And if I said go and lose weight, I've created a problem. So first of all, as a woman, learn how to accept yourself.
Even as a man too, most men also have to learn how to accept themselves too.
Well, I agree, but for the most part, men really don't care. Men accept themselves very well. Some men are ugly, and it doesn't bother them. Some men think they're handsome. Okay, good for them. But you got to accept yourself. If you don't accept yourself, you're just a problem to your partner.
Well,
because nothing he does is going to be right.
That is true. Accept yourself first before anybody else. But again, we need our partners to complement our acceptance. When for instance, if I accepted myself the way I am,
sorry to interrupt
I need you
you.
to compliment it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Do not tell me, oh, you think you're that. I mean, that won't make me happy anymore, even though I already accepted myself the way. You see what I'm saying?
Sorry to interrupt you. As a man, you find out that when a man comes to you for the first time, he comes to you because he's attracted. A good number of people think, oh, I have to look this way or the other way. You know what? Your self-confidence attracts men more than the way you look.
I mean, yeah, you have to have the confidence.
If you have confidence in yourself and accept yourself, that's more attractive and longer lasting than painting your face brown today and green tomorrow. That's not what men are looking for. If you have confidence and you are intelligent and you have good ear before this man, he's gonna respect you.
But some men also look at the physical appearance first before you're talking about the confidence in you. You understand that? Most men just see the eye. The eye sees the beauty.
That is true, but beauty does only one thing, to draw the man closer to you. After that first impression, he's done his job and gone. You can do a little to maintain it, that's fine. But as husband and wife, the man doesn't stand every day looking at you, oh, my wife is beautiful. After some time, you cease to see all those things.
But would you accept that it's also okay for a man or a woman to compliment their partner?
Oh, sure, you do that. But all I'm trying to say is you lay too much emphasis on this compliment. It's like every day the man has to come and, hey, honey, you look beautiful. Your shoe. If you
don't expect it every day.
But most women do.
Okay,
excuse me.
Okay.
An average woman does her hair, and the man doesn't notice it immediately. It's a problem. She changes her shoe, and the man doesn't look at her legs to observe the shoe. It's a problem. And so, and on and on and on and on.
Okay,
please, men think you are beautiful even without all these things.
Okay, let me chime in there. I heard what everybody, I was listening to see what everybody was going to say. You see, emotional abuse is that abuse that chips a little bit at your self-esteem. You have accepted yourself, who you are, like Ken said, it is the key to everything. Because if you don't have that self-esteem to go with, no matter what anybody tells you, it will not make a difference.
Thank you.
Even if I come and tell you you're the most beautiful girl in the world, if you don't believe it, I just wasted my breath. You don't believe
That's
it.
true.
So the first thing really is to believe it. But some women believe it. But due to, like we said, abuse is a crime of secret. When a man or a woman, remember, a man or a woman begins to abuse you, and then gradually they begin to take chip by chip a little bit from your self-esteem. And the more they take, the more you depend on him to compliment you. Because initially when you came in, some men can say something about men don't care about how they look. Because for men, the compliment they want is not how they look. The compliment they want is in other areas that are different, where men feel very insecure. They feel insecure in maybe their manhood. They might feel insecure in their ability to provide for their family.
Finances.
They might be in their finances and other areas. While women, it is all about physical.
That's true.
Okay? So we all, both men and women, we all feel insecure, depending on what areas we're feeling. But for a man don't care. Because in the world today, the ugliest man can marry the most beautiful woman if he has the money. Okay? So
money
for men,
talks.
yeah, money talks. So in the world today, women, we do physical. But men have other areas. So men too like you to compliment on those areas where they feel insecure. Not that they are not secure, they are secure, but maybe, just like we said,
They need a boost.
they need a boost. And sometimes too, some women are abusive to the men. And they abuse them in so many ways, nothing you do is ever right. There are some women, you can't please them. I'm telling you guys, there are some women out there, even if the man lays on the floor and gives his life, it's still not going to be enough. Nothing is enough for them. So in that area, the man begins to feel inadequate. You see, in this area, he's insecure on that area because no matter what the more he puts out there, the more the woman dismisses it. And the more she dismisses it, the more the man is asking for that approval. So it goes both ways.
So you're saying that women should take pride in themselves and be who they think they are
I think
before
women,
seeking compliments from the man.
no,
Is that what you're
see
saying?
what I'm saying? I'm saying every woman out there, and that is what I do all the time. I try to empower women. It is good to get compliment, but first of all, believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in what you can do. If you don't believe in yourself, if it is education you need to do, go out there and get it.
Go for it.
If it is whatever you need to do to empower yourself and feel good about yourself,
Go
out there and go get it. So that when the man comes and say, hey, Chichi, you are a gorgeous woman, you will say thank you because you already know. So you don't need me to say that. If I say it to you, good. Because like Ken said, most men will not notice. Because you went and changed your hair today, most men will not notice. But the man might notice that the soup you cooked yesterday doesn't taste as good as it tasted last week.
Okay.
But he might not notice your hair. So, but if you feel good about, and there is nothing wrong, sisters out there, there is nothing wrong to say, hey, Ken, do you like my hair? I just did the hair. You can draw his attention to it if he didn't notice it, because some men might not see it.
But,
you know?
but I also want to point out something here. We're talking about verbal abuse. I'm going to say that this verbal abuse is more in the areas of teenagers. You know, if you look at, I mean, the world we live in now, we have more teenagers being abused verbally. Let's say, for instance, in school. You know, I've seen a child who is 12 years old because somebody told her in school that she's not pretty enough, you know, and she was stabbing herself to death. She throws up. So we're talking about male and female, but also we also have to narrow channel our mind to most of this abuse, this verbal abuse you're talking about, or emotional abuse. Our teenagers suffer it more.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, hold on a second. In that area, I understand what you're saying, but at that age, she's a child. What we're saying is like in relationships with grown-ups, where a man, like the story you told us at the beginning of your friend, the husband has verbally abused her. You're not beautiful, you don't need this, you're not cute. So gradually, he has taken a little bit of her self-esteem away. Without her knowing it, she started feeling like she doesn't look good anymore. She doesn't feel good anymore. She needed you to tell her, hey, I know you. You're a gorgeous girl. Why are you doing this to yourself? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so in some relationships too, because the men, just like we said about the power of brainwashing.
Yeah.
If I come to you every day and tell you, Ken, you're a bad man. Ken, you're a bad man. You come to me, you bring water, I take the water, pour it on you, I say, get away from me. Did I tell you I need water? You turn the light, I say, turn it off. After some time, we are human beings. You begin to ask yourself, what am I even doing? No matter what I do to this girl is never enough. Two things will happen. Either you stay and try to do more, or you say, you know what, bye-bye.
I'm out of here. That's right.
You know, so that's how, you know, gradually they start chipping on you. Gradually, you don't even know when you begin to act like that.
You see, abuse goes on only because there is a form of dependency.
Exactly.
If one party is not completely in one form or the other, dependent on the other
On the other one.
can't
So we're
stand.
telling our women out there, be very proud of yourself,
who you
regardless
are.
of how you look or
That's
who
right.
you have.
But we can always do better. If I think I'm not handsome enough, there are a few things I can do.
That's
But
right.
as a man, it doesn't bother me. But for women that this is the core of their problem, you can always do better, but don't dwell too much on it.
Yeah.
The attraction to the man is not so much your physical appearance. If you are smart enough, if you are intelligent enough, if this man can get good advice from you, he will always listen to what you have to say. After the day's fight outside, he wants succor at home. But he comes home and you say, he turns off. It's time to go to bed. And tomorrow, before you know it, the relationship that probably started on good ground, now you are drifting apart. And after some time, you don't even know how far you are from each other.
Well, what you said now, let me just say something. Like in general, what we have said here. First of all, we all have to have confidence in ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
Whoever you are, whether you're a man or woman, I don't care if you're size 24 or you're size 18 or size 6 or 2. Just have to make sure you're very confident with yourself. Whether you're tall, you're short, just make sure you're okay with yourself. So if anybody comes to tell you you're ugly, say, well, I'm already pretty in my own self. I am a pretty person. You know, don't accept rejection or don't accept negative forces around you.
And I want to use this opportunity before we go on a commercial break and tell my audience. I talked to so many men and so many people wrote in, and the sample of the men I spoke to, they told me that they are not really concerned about how pretty you look.
Okay,
Because
as
if
if I
you
talked
are
with
a
them.
pretty woman, and a man, one of the men told me, he said, if you are a pretty woman and I come close to you, current affairs, 0. What is happening in America? 0.
Sports.
What about Nigeria? 0. What about sports? 0. Where did they get the water from? You don't know, but you have a smiley face. He said, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to run. Times have gone when men were so concerned about
Beauty.
trophy wives, trophy girlfriends. Oh, she's cute. No. Now,
have
what
to have
are
all
you
of the above.
bringing
To
to the table?
To put it bluntly, after sex, what next?
Okay.
You sleep with the person. At the end of which, what do you discuss while both of you are lying on the bed? Nothing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm
man-
enjoying your conversation.
The man
Really
gets
thinking of
bored.
man.
Yeah, the man gets bored, and after a few times, he's completely bored with you.
Because, you know, beauty is over.
And again, that's a form of intelligence and wisdom you don't have.
You have to have that.
And if you had all this, the way you look now, a woman by her very nature, by the very nature of her creation, is going to add weight after she has delivered a number of babies.
That's true.
That's life. You cannot escape that. And of course, the man is not getting younger. Both of you are growing old. But the woman in her head wants to look the way she did when she was 18 years. Guys, ain't gonna happen. But she is frozen at that, and that's her reference point. You should have moved on to be the kind of better ear to the man. He comes home after the day's fight, honey, this is what I saw in the office today. How do I deal with this? If you have good suggestion, next time something is happening, he's recording it so that you give me a better idea. But if the woman has nothing to discuss with the man and he falls asleep, after first time, second time, before you know it, he is completely bored. He wants some other person that will give him.
That applies to men too. That applies to men too.
It's on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We'll take a commercial.
Your coffee. I know you can't wait.
Welcome back, viewers. We've been talking about abuse, signs of abuse. Now we are going to get to who is abused. Who does it affect? Does it go across gender, age, social economic status, geographical location, religion, education? Let's start with you, Dr. Obi.
Oh, good. I call that, to answer your question, I call that universal virus.
Exactly.
It affects everybody. Nobody is exempt. Okay?
Exactly.
It exempts anybody from the abuse because it can happen in every household. Regardless if you're a millionaire, if you're poor, if you're rich, it happens everywhere.
Oh, okay, me. Where we will say affect more on the women because women say out more than men.
Than the men.
But actually, it affect both
sides.
both sides, male or female. But because we women, ours are all being said out openly. Men are more to themselves. Of course, a lot of men are being abused.
Exactly.
anywhere, everywhere in the world. But women are very outspoken when it comes to their own sex. And you know, the way we look at men, we look at them as these strong
people that should not be abused.
So some of them bottled in their abuse. But a lot of men have been abused. But I would say, but more on the physical abuse. I would say more on the women.
More on the women. Okay. All right, Ken.
Well, I think it affects everybody within the set environment.
Okay.
The case, the woman, the man, the abuser and the abused. For instance, yeah, a man, for instance, may beat a woman to a pulp. But when you're doing that, what's your psychological state?
Exactly.
Are you a happy person beating the other person?
Up.
So yeah, yes, we may see the sign of the beating. However, there is something in your head that has gone wrong. So you are not unaffected.
Your spouse,
so it affects everybody.
Everybody. Yeah, it affects everybody. And somebody, I had somebody told me, what about people that are highly educated? Do they abuse their wives?
Of course, they do.
So some people out there that are highly educated,
yes,
politicians, people in power, they are even in churches. But do you think we have abuse in churches?
We have abuses both in churches.
Pastors, bishops.
Pastors abuse their wives. Wives abuse their
husbands.
And in you know, people that are in politics. You know, most of the women who have been abused, who their husbands are very prominent. They have been abused, but they don't want to say that because of the husband's status. So both in church, a lot of pastors have been abused. Both, I mean, it goes both ways. Even in churches, even in everywhere, even in politics, even in educational environment, people have been abused. So,
for thousands of years, our brain has not changed. So ever before education, both the educated and the uneducated, we're all affected by abuse because it's something that deals more primitively with our character, more than our social standing.
that's true.
Okay, so guys, you have had it all. What is abuse? What are the signs of abuse? We talked about physical abuse, we talked about verbal, emotional, we talked about financial, we talked about sexual abuse. Abuse is out there, guys. There is no need for us to pretend it's not happening. It's happening more often than we know. It's happening more often than we think. But the problem with abuse is a crime of secret. Nobody talks about it. Because how would I come out and say, oh, I'm the governor of a country, I'm the governor of a state, and I'm abusing my wife? Which governor's wife or which president's wife want to come out and say, hey, guess what? I'm an abused woman. So you hide it. You cover it up. But guys, it is not only for women. Several men out there are being abused. But because the society look at them as the stronger, just like Chichi said, they are stronger, so they are more, you know, able to take it, so we think it's okay to give it to them. Abuse is not okay at any level. It's not acceptable.
So how do we come around it?
We are going to that's going to be the next episode. Guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned. But before we leave, I want a final word to the audience. Look out there and talk to the audience. Something about abuse. Say a word of advice. Something out there for them, Obi.
Well, personally, I will advise you, regardless of your situation, please find a friend to confide in. Find a friend that you can trust. Somebody has to know what's going on with you, how you feel, because if you don't say it, you can get help. There are so many resources out there you can use that can help you. Please let somebody else hear about it. Don't keep it within you.
Thank you. Let's hear from you, Chi.
What I want to say, if you are being abused, whoever is being abused, male or female, speak out. Tell somebody. We have a lot of help lines that can help you out. I mean, I don't care where you are, where your situation is right now. If you are being abused, speak out to somebody. Talk to somebody. There is somebody out there that will be available to help you out. And second and thirdly, always have confidence in yourself. Don't take any form of abuse, whatever it's called, whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse. Do not accept any kind of abuse. Remember, you are so beautiful both in person and in heart. Just make sure you don't accept any kind of abuse.
Ken?
Hey, viewers, if you are in a situation where you don't like something that is happening, have the capacity to communicate. Don't just talk, communicate. And if you try, sometimes somebody may be doing something without intending, or it may be read differently from what your intention was. The only way you find out whether it is abuse or a mistake is by communicating. Never make assumptions. So if you see a situation you don't like, communicate. And if the person reinforces the negative behavior, then it is abuse. And then that's time you need to talk to somebody. Thank you.
Viewers, you have had it all. We, as people, do not accept any form of abuse. It is not acceptable.
No.
It should not be tolerated.
No.
It should not be guaranteed. It should not be talked about. We are educated human beings. We are in this world to be each other's keeper. Your wife, biblically, is said to be your better half. How can you hit yourself? How can you abuse yourself? How can you maltreat the same person that you say you love or you claim to love? Guys out there, if you are the abuser, it's high time you stop the bullying. We teach our children that bullying is not accepted. It is not accepted in school, and it is not accepted at home.
Yes, right.
It has to stop. And those of you that are being abused out there, it is time for you to step up and say enough is enough. Stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in. If you keep silent, you're going to die. Remember,
Speak out.
you have to speak out. Speak, speak, and speak.
That's right.
Until next time, remember, you are wonderfully and beautifully made because you are unique in your own way.
Amen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.